Yep, run after Kitty. Fine. Now, it looks like there's a dead end on the right, which means there's probably items, so let's go that way. Yay for RPG logic. Yep, and more mannequins. That's probably enough memory. Yeah. Let's just go down the lovely long corridor, ignoring the non-zombie mannequins, and have happiness come to us all. Or maybe a kitty.
There he is.
How did you know it's a
How did he
he?
get here in the first place? Wait.
Come on, follow the kitty. You know any good things happen from following cats. Is there anything in this corridor really? Well, there's 2 dead ends and the other way's got a fireplace, so I think we want these dead ends first. And once again we have mannequins and another mystery item, which is again one size, so it's probably something good. Basically, all the memories seem to be size 1 items, so it's probably 3 memories. Now we actually know what's killed everyone. Although strangely, people in the memory seem to have survived for like a day after the event happened, and a lot of them seem to know they were dying, and a few of them seem to actually have that empathetic link. So I'm not sure if maybe I should actually use the name Sai, or Booby Ghost as I've been referring her, actually knows the truth behind it all. Anyway, I'm going to use the fireplace. We've probably got memories, so let's have a look.
Maybe I'll sit down. I see.
Oh, baby sock. This will only be a good sign. This can only bring happiness and joy.
Though you're still so small, you'll soon be born. So this message is for you. There may come a day when you'll curse being born into this world. You'll wonder what you did to deserve this. And you'll probably have plenty of bitter words to tell me. But I don't think I'll be around by then to listen to your complaints. I want you to know how truly sorry I am. I just want you to believe this. No matter what happens, all we wanted was for you to be happy.
That's why we wiped out humanity, to make a baby happy. Most people jingle their keys. A ledger.
To-do list. 1. Eat a whole cake by myself. 2. Share a meal with my family. 3. Visit all the friends I can. 4. Read all the books I've wanted to. 5. Buy the clothes I always dreamed of.
Okay, you see, 1, 2, and 3 seem like the sort of things you can do 24 hours to live. 4 and 5, not really.
6. Make up with that certain somebody.
Okay, that one's a bit more reasonable. And Silverbell Chris.
The silver bell wasn't a particularly outstanding decoration, but it did ring the most beautifully. I'd always wondered what kind of home such a lovely bell had come from. It belonged to an old woman who lived alone without relatives, in a large mansion I'd never seen before.
Madam, it's time for supper.
Thank you, dear.
Madam, the lilies in the garden have bloomed. I've put them in this vase.
What a lovely scent.
Madam, it started raining. Allow me to close the windows.
Yes. And draw the curtains, too.
The old woman was waited on hand and foot by her servants. She'd rely on their help as she sat idly in her chair, listening to her favorite music. She'd even ask them to change out the records. But most of the servants seemed to genuinely adore their employer. But there was one thing the old woman would ask several times a day.
Excuse me, but could you call Chris here for me?
Later that same day.
Oh, where is Chris?
And again, even later.
Please find Chris for me.
Though normally obedient, this one request was always met with hesitation.
Madam, Chris is already...
The maids would start cautiously. Oh yes, you're quite right, the old woman would say, cutting them off.
She's not with us anymore, is she? I'd nearly forgotten.
She'd murmur with a nod, but not a few hours later, she'd ask the same questions again. She had them stop her favorite record.
Oh, wherever could my darling Chris be?
One rainy night, the mansion was in an uproar.
Madam? Madam!
The servants dashed through the halls in a frenzy. Finally, one of the maids shouted in despair.
Why can't I find her cane?
Though it wasn't too cold outside, the sheets of rain continued to pour relentlessly.
She couldn't have gone outside. Could she?
A chill passed over the gathered servants before they set out. They put on their coats and called for help outside. I tore my eyes from them and made for the rain-drenched town. Amidst the downpour, I smelled the sweet fragrance of lily. In the back lane of a park, far from the mansion, I made out the figure of the old woman. She was surrounded by a crowd who moved and gabbed around her.
Come on, lady, you'll catch your death out here. Maybe you should see the police.
The old woman's shoes and designer clothes were soaked through. A man tried taking her by the hand, but the old woman refused to budge, her face adamant. Fed up with her antics, the men finally left, leaving her behind. I cautiously stepped just into her field of vision, and without saying a word, rang my silver bell. It rang clear through the rain. The old woman raised her head sharply in surprise, her blurry eyes looking at me.
Chris?
The old lady rasped. I rang the bell again in a nod, and then turned around.
Chris, wait! Wait for me!
Her cane clicked as she followed me. I may not be able to carry her all the way to the mansion, but it'd be enough to bring her to her servants. I stopped often to look over my shoulder, to make sure I didn't lose her. The sound of that beautiful bell was a beacon. At last, one of the servants noticed the old woman and shouted, "Madam." As she ran towards her, the old woman bent down to scoop me up and held me, trembling. The servants weren't able to hide their surprise, seeing how much the late Chris had changed upon her return. Not one of them said that I wasn't Chris, because the old woman called me so. The maids nodded in obedience, just glad that their beloved employer had returned home safe. I am Chris. Chris with her silver bell. I'm the tiny, adorable Chris, loved by her grandmother in this grand mansion.
I'm still not entirely sure if that girl is actually trying to be a complete bitch or whether she's trying to be nice. But either way, I think that's enough for this time. I shall see you next time. Bye.